Judge's Corner is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best online retailer for Magic the Gathering singles and sealed product, and GatheringMagic.com, your place to explore the game. Now it's time for Judge's Corner.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching another episode of Judge's Corner. Today we're going to be taking a look at rules-related questions for Standard. And what makes this episode special is that they're either questions that all of you have asked again and again, and I figured it's finally worth addressing them, or they're questions that no one has really asked me, and I feel like they're still really worth covering. So today we're going to start off with Soulfire Grandmaster. The first question has been a popular one. Many people have asked, what's the deal with Soulfire Grandmaster? If Damnation or Cultivate have lifelink, how much life do I gain from those spells? While we never had a card that allowed instants or sorceries to have lifelink before, the rules for it have always been established long ago. Lifelink, in its essence, states that the source with lifelink gains you that much life as dealt by the source. So if the spell is, say, a lightning bolt, then all of a sudden it's more of a lightning helix in that it deals 3 damage, thus gaining you 3 life for just 1 red mana, and of course the presence of a Grandmaster. And speaking of lightning helix, would you gain 3 or 6 life with a Grandmaster in play? Well, the answer is 6, because lightning helix doesn't normally have lifelink, but rather a life-gaining ability for 3 life that is part of the spell, and of course, now it has lifelink. This also extends to damage dealt to multiple things from one source. For example, if you played Blasphemous Act while controlling a Grandmaster, and the spell dealt 13 damage to, let's say, 10 creatures, you'd end up gaining 130 life, even if the Grandmaster is also caught up in the blasphemy. But for spells that don't deal any damage, like Cultivate and Damnation that we mentioned earlier, even though they might have other similar effects, neither actually deal any damage. It's like giving a creature with flying the ability Reach, or adding some chocolate ice cream to your Mercedes. Sure, it looks nice, but it doesn't really add any functionality. Our next question is one I've never had anyone actually ask, but personally seen many players obviously overlook it. I'd like to preface this by apologizing to any Sidisi Whip players in advance. Sidisi, that opulent Naga. I can't tell you how many times I've played Sidisi, been allowed to let the trigger resolve, then milled a couple of creatures from the top of my library into my graveyard, gotten a zombie out of it, and then my opponent kills her. Sidisi is composed of 2 completely independent triggered abilities, which typically work very synergistically with one another. If you remove her from the battlefield before her first ability triggers, or before any other spell or ability mills cards from the top of your library to the grave, then her second triggered ability won't be there to see those cards get milled, and so it won't trigger, preventing any nasty zombies from emerging from the filth. The Jeskai have personally charmed me with their method of taking out the trash, by sometimes actually adding Sidisi to the pile. For example, if Sidisi's first triggered ability goes on the stack, the Jeskai can respond by playing their charm to put Sidisi back on top of the library. Then, Sidisi's waiting trigger will go to resolve and mill the top 3 cards of the library, which, unfortunately for the Sidisi player, includes Sidisi, and then Sidisi's not even there to get a zombie out of it all. So, while I may have hindered some Sidisi players with that last one, I hope this next question makes up for that. Chris asked, if Ashiok exiles my Torrent Elemental with its first ability, can I bring it back to the battlefield from its Golgari hybrid ability? Of course you can. You'll still be limited to using the ability when you could normally cast a sorcery, but otherwise that's totally fair game. After all, that's because Ashiok is putting the elemental into the exile zone. And I guess you could say, that'll be your opponent's worst nightmare. For our last question, a couple of viewers have asked, if my opponent destroys my Goblin Rabble Master before the beginning of combat, but after I tried to move to combat, can I then play another creature like Monastery Swiftspear and attack with it? Definitely. In order for them to be able to destroy your Goblin Rabble Master before the token is created, you have to pass priority in the main, and they have to use that priority to kill that goblin. If they do that, it all happens in the main phase, and then you'll have an opportunity to play more sorceries or a creature before moving into combat. This is because the phase doesn't advance to combat unless both players pass priority in succession without taking any other actions. So what happens is, you say, I'm going to move to combat. Is that okay? And your opponent says, well, not yet. I'm going to destroy your creature with Hero's Downfall. He kills the Goblin Rabble Master because you don't have any response to his Hero's Downfall, and then priority moves back to you. This is the part where you can either re-say, I'm about to move into combat then, or you can play another sorcery or creature. since you have priority and it's still your main phase. So that's it for our episode. If you have any questions about this episode or any other questions in general, you can always send us your questions at judgescorner@gatheringmagic.com, or you can ask them in the comments below, and myself or someone else will be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. And if you like this video, we'd really like it if you hit the like button. It helps our channel out a lot. Until next time, make sure to shuffle thoroughly, play at a reasonable pace, and send us those questions.